I am beginning my hike around the Three Sisters Mountains. I just started from the Lava Camp Lake parking lot. I'm heading on a short trail that will meet up with the Pacific Crest Trail. This area clearly has had a fire come through, not relatively recently. So many spots that I've passed through in Oregon this past week have had recent massive wildfires pass through. And this looks like the junction with the Pacific Crest Trail. So I'll be heading south here for a little bit. So yesterday in Bend, which is about 30 miles away, it was 97 degrees. And so I'm about 2.5 miles into my hike on the PCT, and this is the first snow patch that I found. It's pretty comfortable right now. It's about 10 a.m. in the low 60s, I would guess. So we'll see what the temperatures are like later on. So this is pretty cool over here. There's this ridge that I'm looking at that seems like it's all lava. This is the first close-up view that I have of. This is the North Sister Peak, and behind it, Middle Sister. There's another big peak back here, which I'm not sure what that one is. I'll have to look that up when I get finished. All right, so I've come about 3 miles, and this is the junction with the Scott Pass Trail, which I'll be taking now. So this is basically the beginning of the loop part of this hike. I will be finishing coming north on the PCT, which is right here, and then the last 3 miles will be just retracing my steps that I just did now. So I'll be heading left on the Scott Pass Trail. So I'm on the Scott Pass Trail. This is another massive burn area. I don't think this is the same fires on the other side of the Scott Pass, but you can see it's a long, as far as I can see, there's burned trees. So I'm hiking on the Green Lakes Trail. This is North Sister Peak ahead of me. Probably been hiking about 6 miles so far. Other than one of the lakes that I passed by, there hasn't really been any water. But I'm told by some people that passed by that there's a creek called Alder Creek that's not far ahead. This is kind of a, excuse me, cool spot along the Green Lakes Trail here. I'm not sure what goes on here. Seems like maybe it could be covered with snow a lot of the year. As you can see, now it's starting to get back to some live trees, which hopefully means there'll be more shade. Up until now, it's been all burnt trees, which provided no shade, so it's been pretty hot. So we're gonna get a panorama here of burnt trees. This is the trail that I came from, that direction. And if we look in all directions, lots of burnt trees. Up here is the North Sister Peak. Alright, so here I have come to the junction with the Pole Creek Trail. So I'm going to go right here to stay on the Green Lakes Trail. Still a lot of burned forest here. And did fill up water a couple miles ago. I'm not sure if I should pass Pole Creek or the actual creek or not, but we'll see. So it should be a couple miles before I start looking for a campsite. Here I actually have a view of all three of the Sisters Mountains. So if I walk up here, so here's the North Sister, over here is the South Sister, or sorry, Middle Sister, and then this one over here, South Sister. So I just passed the Camp Creek Trail Junction where there was a stream and a campsite, and that's kind of where I was intending to camp tonight. And I could have stayed there. The stream was good, decent campsite, but there's a lake up ahead that supposedly has some couple of campsites. It's about 3 more miles to hike, so I decided, it's about 4:30 and I've been hiking pretty far today. I tried to get to that lake. Hopefully there'll be some campsites when I get there. So we'll see. All right, so I'm going to be crossing this stream in a moment. It's pretty deep, so I don't even know if I can walk across. It's actually deeper than it would be make me able to walk across. So I'm going to walk across this log, which would be fine normally. The backpack on, it's a little bit more difficult, so hopefully it goes okay. All right, so this little lake here, unnamed, will be my home for tonight. Just got here, it's around 7 o'clock. Go probably swim a little bit. It's a little marshy looking, but better than nothing. All right, here's my campsite, night one. Next to this little lake here. Over here, my dinner is rehydrating. Chicken pesto pasta tonight. Here's me. I'm dressed like this because mosquitoes are ferocious here. They're swarming, so I have my whole body covered. Sun is almost about to go down behind some ridges over here, so looking to see if there's a nice sunset. We'll see. All right. So it's morning, day 2, hiking on the Green Lakes Trail. I left my campsite about 30 minutes ago. Still, mosquitoes are absolutely horrendous. I had to stop my hike in foot-long pants and a long sleeve shirt on. Even then, they're still biting just swarming my face. So I'm hoping that I get to an area with less mosquitoes soon. So I'll be hiking on this trail for a little bit. Eventually today we'll head west on the Moraine Lake Trail, headed to Moraine Lake for campsite tonight. All right, so I've reached the Park Meadow Trail junction. Here the Green Lakes Trail takes a right turn. Mosquitoes still swarming. So hiking on the Green Lakes Trail. This is South Sister Peak right ahead. Pretty soon I should be getting to the Green Lakes. Still a lot of mosquitoes. A few minutes ago I had to stop and take my long pants off. So I figured, I don't think anyone's died from too many mosquito bites, but you can die from heat exhaustion, so thought that was a wise call. So this is a pretty cool spot here, real open area. I'm sure this was covered with snow not that long ago. Real close-up view of the South Sister Peak. Luckily, up here, there's some wind, so the mosquitoes are mostly gone, which is a nice relief. And I'm guessing that somewhere up here are these Green Lakes, which will be, I'm going to take a little bit of a break there. And it'll be about the halfway point of today's hike. So this is the smaller of the Green Lakes. As you can see, it's quite green. So I just picked a spot to sort of sit and relax a little bit here. It's a really beautiful area. Go for a swim. So I just left the Green Lakes and I'm hiking along this Falls Creek. I think it's called a Fall Creek, but it's pretty cool. So not long ago, I turned off the Green Lakes Trail onto the Moraine Lake Trail. So after hiking downhill for quite a bit from the Green Lakes, this trail is now climbing, but it's not really that far, maybe a mile and a half to Moraine Lake, where I'll be camping tonight. So I have arrived at Moraine Lake. It's pretty cool. South Sister Peak. There's a ton of campsites here. All of them are from the lake, like way high up. So I found one right near here I'm going to grab. There's actually quite a few people here too. It's a Saturday, so it would be expected. Alright, so I got my tent set up here, my campsite at Moraine Lake. It's hard to see from here, but I walk over here. This is on like top of a hill that is overlooking the lake. It's a pretty cool spot. Go get some water and swim. morning of day 3. Just left camp, heading west on the Moraine Lake Trail for a little over a mile until I get to the Leconte Crater Trail, something like that. And that will just take me to the Pacific Crest Trail, which will basically be most of the rest of the hike. So I just turned onto the Leconte Crater Trail. It's a pretty interesting area, very open and grassy. Like looking back this way from where I came, and up here, looks like we're heading up to the top of that little ridge. And it looks like I've reached the junction with the Pacific Crest Trail. Yep, there we go. Pacific Crest Trail. Alright. And I'll be heading this way. Again, pretty cool area. Very grassy and open. Once in a while there's a few trees, but it's pretty cool. Here's the South Sister, right up here. Okay, so I'm hiking on the PCT north. Just past a little lake, and I took a snack break. And you can see now I've kind of entered into another burn zone with all these burnt trees. And of course that means no shade. Alright, I'm sitting here under a tree having a snack. Right by this creek, which I believe is Separation Creek. I'll find out in a little bit when I keep walking. But I'm going to fill up some water here. You can see there's lots of snow higher up feeding this creek. Some wildflowers out. All right, still hiking on the PCT. I've come a little over 11 miles, couple more to go. Another pretty hot day. Lots of no shade. Over here, I think South Sister, Middle Sister. So here we go. So this is a pretty cool open area here I came to, right underneath the Middle Sister Peak. So this is Obsidian Falls, really cool waterfall. Water looks like it's coming right out of the rock. Really nice. I'm gonna walk over here a little bit. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, so I'm at my campsite at Glacier Creek. It's a really nice spot. It's a nice cold flowing stream running by. Took me a while to find this spot. According to stuff I read, there's sites campsites all along Glacier Creek, but most of the ones that were near the trail had signs on them saying closed for revegetation. So I hiked a long way off trail up the stream and found this spot, but it's pretty good. I'm gonna do some laundry now, then dinner. Okay, so it's morning, day 4 on the Pacific Crest Trail, and right away, the trail is covered in snow. A lot of spots like this yesterday, some of them pretty big, so sometimes it's difficult to figure out where the trail comes out on the other end. Gotta just follow footsteps. Hope they lead in the right direction. So this is a pretty cool area that I'm walking through. It's very rocky, all looks like what I assume to be volcanic material. So I'm kind of headed this way, which is like looking straight into the sun, so that picture's not picking out very well, but here are the North and Middle Sisters. This is looking back where I came from. Alright, so this is a little bit further. I reached what seems like the top of my climb on this volcanic material, but this is another cool spot here. Alright, so here's another cool part of the trail, and it's sort of, I don't know what to call this, but it's very narrow, steep drop on either side. And over here, you see there's a couple big peaks in the distance, which I'm not sure which peaks they are. And I'll be heading down here. It looks like I'm going to have to cross this snow pack here, because I see the trail on the right side and then on the left side. So I just came to this spot here. I'm hiking downhill for a little bit. Nice open meadow, some wildflowers. This trip I haven't seen a whole lot of wildflowers. I think I'm probably like a week or two early, because it feels like most of these spots like have just basically been cleared of snow like within the last week or two. So, but this is pretty cool. So I'm heading to some place called the Glacier Crater, which, I don't know. And then there's also some peak that you can hike to, which looks like that trail up there is heading to. But this is pretty cool. So I just reached the top of a pretty steep climb, a very rocky trail. In front of me is so-called Glacier Dome, and down here is what's known as Glacier Crater, which is kind of interesting. Some big snowy mountain peaks off in the distance. So now I'm on the other side of Glacier Dome. This is kind of a strange place, definitely. Here's North Sister. This is this dome that I've been hiking around. Pretty interesting. Still heading north on the PCT. Getting close to the point where I will close the loop that I've hiked. Again, this trail is right alongside this strange rock pile, which has been a lot of the hike today has looked like this. So just a few minutes ago, I completed the loop that I was hiking. Here is South Matthieu Lake. So I'm going to hike a little bit further to the North Matthieu Lake and maybe go swimming there. Okay, so right here, if I go to the right, I would stay on the Pacific Crest Trail, which would be, retracing my steps from the beginning of the hike 3 days ago. But I'm going to take this North Matthieu Lake Trail. They go the same place, so for a little variety, we'll go this way. So I've rejoined the PCT. So taking a slight detour to the North Matthieu Lake. Walking again through this burnt forest. It's kind of interesting, but in the middle of the day, when the sun is out, I feel like I'm in the fire. It's so hot here. But it's kind of interesting. I'm not sure when this fire was, but you can see some plant life starting to return to the forest floor, which is kind of cool. Okay, so I'm coming to the end of my 4-day hike around the Three Sisters Mountains in the Deschutes National Forest in Oregon. Pretty great hike. 4 days, about 48 miles. Some beautiful scenery, beautiful mountains, beautiful lakes, some cool things. Some difficult stretches too, definitely. Very hot in some open areas, and some areas had horrendous mosquitoes, but all in all, pretty great trip. So hope you enjoyed the videos.